man or woman, what would be better for a person's confidence than knowing that you're going to compete against somebody who you're outworking them by far. They gave up a long time ago and you're still putting in work. If you don't have $1 million yet, you're living a much lesser life than what could be easily available to you with the right guidance. My head coach has freed up a few spots in his calendar to hold one-on-one strategy calls with the highest quality applicants. If you're doing well already and you're looking to accelerate your momentum and do even better, click the link in the description now and apply for your strategy session. More at the end of this video. This is Derek Moneyberg, here with Jason Jackson, also known as the ass-kicking machine. Look that up. And Jason and I were talking about, brand names. Now, Jason's a fighter at Bellator, soon to be world champion, I understand. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely.
He says it's a fact.
Yeah, big fact. So.
Big fact. We were talking about brand names and, the marketing that goes into picking the name that you're going to go with in life. And, when I picked the name Moneyberg for this company, there's some people that looked at me like, people who are good friends, people that care about me, cautioned me. They said, Derek, you can't call the company Moneyberg. You can't say Derek Moneyberg. That's a ridiculous name, and so on and so on. And I said, no, it's not a ridiculous name. Or rather, it is a ridiculous name, but that's the point. It is a ridiculous name, but that's the point. That any brand that you have, any name that differentiates you or that you become known by, at first you're going to be ignored. Nobody's going to pay attention to your ass. And then afterwards, if there becomes a public awareness, you're likely to be made fun of. And that's you think you're getting worse. You think things are getting worse because nobody knew who you are, and now some people are starting to know who you are, but they're talking shit about you or who you are or your name, etc. You're actually getting closer to success when you get to that point. I'm curious about your journey through this, and I'm going to ask you in just a moment. But then later, when the success is undeniable, when it's clear that you've helped enough people or you've lived up to that name, whether being an ass-kicking machine, or Moneyberg in the sense that I help clients make money and have more prosperity and freedom in their lives. When you've lived up to that name and the results are clear and the results are there, ain't nobody laughing no more. It's just that that's what it is.
True.
That's what it is. So, if you're going to call yourself the ass-kicking machine and be publicly known by that, you better win some damn fights, eh?
Correct.
Yeah.
Like I had issue with announcer actually to announce the name, but the more I was starting to whoop ass, cash check, and take over, promoters was loving it. It was like, yes, that's Mac. We're gonna say that name. So like you said, it was starting to become undeniable. So they didn't have no problem with it. And, people stopped laughing, the crowd started drawing to it. And everybody was just asking, I can't believe. But, that name was originated through watching a lot of WWE, watching The Rock whoop ass, teaming up with the Big Red Machine Kane and Hollywood Hulk Hogan. So it was just that right there. Boom, it just clicked right there. I was like, you know what? The Rock are always talking about whooping ass. Now he's teaming up with the Big Red Machine. So, I just put the whole name together and the ass-kicking machine just created right there and there.
And sometime later, you got 16 professional wins right now?
Yeah, over 20 fight and I think over 10 amateurs as well. So
another 10 amateur wins?
Yeah.
So, more than 25 people found out about the ass-kicking machine.
Absolutely. They did. And like I said, they didn't take me serious till when, you're sleeping.
When you wake up.
Wake up. Right,
that's what's
they
up.
Respect it. So, we're here with you, Moneyberg.
Tell me how things started off for you, man, before you got, 25 wins or 26 wins as it may be, under your belt. You're on your way to a title shot. You're on your way to maybe putting that big shiny belt around your waist. How things started off for you?
Wow.
How we get to here?
I started off as migrated to America when I was 13. I was 12 going on 13 to live with my dad.
You came from Jamaica originally?
I came from Jamaica. Had a rough upbringing. My mom had 8 kids, and we live in a 1-bedroom shack. And when I came to Atlanta for opportunity, I was like, we're gonna make use of this. And you know, at the end of high school, I didn't want to go to I didn't want to go to college. I was like, I'm more of a hands-on guy. I think I want to learn a trade or do something of that nature. But I always knew I wanted to entertain people, you know, because when I was growing up in Jamaica, we only had 2 channels, watching a black and white TV. And wrestling was something that was big in our little village. So, you know, I always wanted to be famous. I just know that, and be on TV. But as I get older and I find out what wrestling was, you know, that you had to take steroids and, you know, what steroids do and all that, and I kind of drift away from that a little bit. And I just remember I was in class in middle school or whatnot, and I used to tell kids that and teachers that I wanted to be a wrestler, WWE wrestler. The whole class would laugh at me like, this guy really want to be a WWE wrestler. I was like, I don't know what. I just felt like I wanted to entertain people. Mm-hmm. And as I was like the ending of school or whatnot, I was like, I was homeless a bit, living in my car or whatnot, and sleeping on my auntie floor or what. And a commercial came on about Chuck Liddell and Rampage. It's like a promo. And they show like the highlight of Rampage just knocking people out, powerbombing and, you know, doing that wolf thing. Oh, and Chuck Liddell is just going off on people, and I just felt that energy.
Chuck's my buddy. I love Chuck. Chuck's been to my home. I've done stuff with Chuck in several states. We're friends.
I only met Chuck, I think, one time, and I think another time Luke Rocco brought him onto the team, but he wasn't really, you know, it didn't seem like he was like social like that at that point. I don't know. But when I met him in Vegas, we was actually doing some signing together. Like he had a booth signing and I had a booth. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, I'm doing a booth signing right next to Chuck Liddell. And, you know, I wish if I could have let him know that, you know, like thank him, like, hey, if it wasn't for you being so charismatic on TV, I don't feel like I would have been here, because I wanted to be that person. I didn't know how I was gonna win fight. I didn't know how I was gonna get there, but I just knew I wanted to be doing what you're doing, which is celebrating and being the maniac, the Iceman. So, you know, seeing that, and I was like, I don't want to go to college. I want to fight. And I went and I signed up. And as I signed up, you know, I started doing a little boxing because my ex-girlfriend, she was a boxer. And she would actually smack the shit out of me.
You were looking for some different words, but that's an yes.
Yeah, she smacked the shit out of me. But in my head, I'm like, I know she didn't just smack me, but I just knew she could have whooped my ass. So what can I do? So I was like, man, I need to learn some boxing. So I went to one of her first fight, and my jaw dropped like, I really need some boxing lesson. And I started training with a whole bunch of girls or whatnot. And as the gym was developing, I was getting better as well, because the gym started from scratch. And back then I used to work at Marshall, making like $40 a week just to buy gas and put in my car so I could be in the gym. And I just knew I was dedicated. I knew I was disciplined to this right here, because I didn't have nothing. You know, I didn't have a job. Back then I wasn't even a citizen. I mean, I wasn't even a resident. I didn't have no paper, no ID, no nothing. Couldn't get a job. So it was like, man, I don't know. And I had my couple of boxing fight. First boxing fight that I had, the guy was like 10-0, I was 1-0. And the coach was like, don't do it. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like this guy feel like I'm scared or whatnot. He find out that I had no fight, and he had 10 fights. So I did it, got my butt kicked. And, you know, I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do another one. I fought another guy, and I ended up knocking the guy out. And the whole place went crazy. And I was like, I looked around, I was so shocked that I knocked him out. First thing that kicked on my mind, that Chuck Liddell. I was like, I just started doing the Chuck Liddell, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do MMA. And I ended up doing like the first ever sanctioned amateur MMA fight in Florida. And then from then, I won my third fight, and I was like, all right, cool. I need to come up with a name of this ultra ego person I'm gonna be. Because Jason, I'm just cool, nice, relaxing, chill. And then, I came up with the ass kicking machine. It took me like the whole night to come up with this whole name. And then when I came up with it, it was like, oh, what is your name? What's gonna be your ring name? I'm like, oh, the ass kicking machine. And they said, really? Stop playing. I was like, yeah, the ass kicking machine. That's what's gonna be my name. So we went in the ring, and my corner man, everybody know. It was like, Jason, the ass kicking machine. I was acting like everybody in the arena started laughing. Even my corner man turned around, was laughing like, you guys knew I was going to announce this. Why y'all laughing? And then I went out there and finished the guy, and it was like 30 seconds, choked him out. And then everybody was like, well, props to you, man. You are the ass kicking machine.
The ass kicking machine, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so, and now I had a lot of setback as well, as far as, finding a new home, starting out with Henry. And we started out Brazilian. That didn't work out. So we end up, started something different. And we end up here with Kill Flip now. So, I had like a lot of setback that would have made anybody quit or give up from chasing their dream. I break my hand, broke my leg. And when those injuries occurred, it was like, when I'm right there, just right there. I was on the Ultimate Fighter with Usman and, American Top Team. Break my hand, couldn't get to fight in the finale. And I end up have to go back to the regional scene, start back over. Work my way up, won 2 world title, regional title in 1 year, 2 different promotion. And end up on the Contender Series. I was like the morning of the fight. My mom's house got burned down in Jamaica, sending videos and everything of like pulling furniture. They barely saved anything in the house or whatnot. So I felt like going into the fight, I had like a black cloud over my head. I couldn't focus. I was just rushing. I just wanted to go in there and get the result that I felt like I desired, but I didn't take my time. And throughout the training, when I was training, I was just doing a lot of running. I just felt like I was invincible. If I felt a little pain or whatnot, I just keep running. I felt like I was running away from my problems. And went in there and I was moving too fast. Ended up breaking my leg. So I end up now, they did not invite me to come back or anything. And I was winning the fight, actually. And end up have to start back over in the regional seed again. And I was like, you know what?
How'd you break your leg?
Huh?
How'd you break your leg?
I felt like I had a stress fracture in the fight, and it was like in the first round, and I felt like I took the guy down. I slammed him, and I felt like my leg was numb or whatnot, and I let him up, and once I let him up, I just felt my leg was so numb. And I think he went for a low kick. And as he low kicked, just felt my leg just buckle. I started backing up in the fight, got clipped, fell around my leg. When took us back, made the second round, I was telling my corner man, like, hey, broke my leg. And he was like, no, same thing happened to Michael Chandler, probably going on with your leg. I was like, no, I can feel bone. And as soon as I came out, seeing it, and he just kicked me on it again, just clean break. My fibula. Yeah, it was fibula bone that's in the back. Clean break. I was like, man, this felt so vulnerable. Like, no, I want to do something, but I can't. So my body gave out on me. Same thing with the Ultimate Fighter. So, I went back and I was like, I had to start back over. And when starting back over, it means that you have to go fight for $1,000 now. And I had kids, a wife, a family to take care of. So I was like, are you gonna be able to waste more time? And not be able to take care of your responsibilities. And I was like, you know, I'm not gonna give up. And now all the weight is off of me because I'm trying to hold on to something that's not there. Foot is already on the ground. Why am I still holding on? Just let go. Once I let go, start going up. Because I wasn't holding on like, oh, you know, I competed on the Ultimate Fighter, competed in the Contender Series. I should be this. I should deserve this. No way I should be fighting for $1,000. No way I could be able to do this. I know I couldn't even pay my rent. So I was like, let go of all that you think you work for. And I guarantee you'll get lighter. And as I let go, it kind of like I was able to do other things without thinking that I'm this person, this character. You know, I was able to go work, started my own tree company. Even though I was on crutches, I was climbing trees and started washing cars in the parking lot of the gym, like before I go training. And after then I would, you know, sell coconut. That's like coconut I get from like trimming trees or whatnot. And then as I realized that I was doing that, fighting for $1,000 was just so easy because it was just extra money. Because I made so much money doing those other stuff. It was like, it's extra money. It's something that I like to do. I just need an extra $1,000 if I go. As soon as I would go fight, I would beat my opponents easily. And I would come right back. Go do the same thing over and over. To when I know, when I look back, I'm like, wow, I really don't need the money from working outside no more and doing all that, because fighting is like generating a lot of money now. But I still continue to keep the other rest of the jobs and to keep me humble, you know, because like now, if I go on somebody's yard to go cut a tree, they might look at me like I'm somebody like desperate or somebody that, you know what I'm saying? Like, they treat me like a landscaper, you know? But in my mind, I want to get out of character and be like, man, you just don't know. I really don't need this job. If you Google who my name is, I am actually somebody, but I'm like, no, keep quiet and continue on staying in character.
Man, I still like all kinds of money.
Yeah.
I worked my whole life. I mean, my first dollar, I was 7 years old, and I was just always looking for some little. When you mentioned, you know, off camera, we were just chatting, and you were saying about, you know, selling coconuts or running a tree service, and you know, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, like when I was a kid, I'd walk dogs, wash cars, cut grass, rake leaves, trim bushes, paint fences, shovel snow, you know, any other damn thing that I could do to find a few dollars. And, you know, I made quite a lot of money over time. But, you know, if I go to the airport and find a penny somewhere, I pick up the penny and I'd be so excited. I'll do a little dance. I get so excited. Now, you know, I am half Jewish by ancestry, so that might have something to do with it. It might be a biological thing that I have no control over. I don't know. But I still love money. I love all kinds of money. If I could find a penny, I'm picking it up. If I find, you know, there's times I made very large sums of money, you know, a couple $1 million in a day in the stock market, and I'm still excited if I could find a nickel or a dime somewhere.
I think it's just being addicted to any money that you find, you just want to put it in the stock market too.
I ain't trying to be dramatic. That's true. And like, if I find a quarter, you know, whoever's with me, I'm saying, I'm gonna turn this into a couple bucks.
Really?
If I find a quarter, I'm no way that I don't turn this into a few dollars before I die.
And I didn't tell you how I started the tree company. I started with a machete, which is, I didn't have nothing, like literally.
Yeah, no chainsaw, no pruning tools, machete.
Nothing, not even a worker. Hurricane came around, and I watched a few YouTube videos about trees and, you know, what the customers want to hear and how to talk about trees and everything and hazardous and stuff like that. And I would like go around the neighborhood, knock on the door, tell the homeowners to come outside. I have something to show them. Once I do, I will let them know, like, hey, see that branch over there? It's very dangerous to be.
It's about to fall on your child and kill him.
Exactly.
Do you love your child?
Or your dog. So
you
see
know, that they're about to crush your car?
Yep.
Do you like that car? Do you want to file that insurance claim and pay that deductible?
I actually that was like the first job that I got, literally telling them that. And it was another customer who how I think the tree was on his side, it fell on his neighbor's house, but the neighbor was out of town, so he wanted to get rid of it before they get home.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, that's the first one I'm gonna attack because he sounded desperate. So I was like, listen, I would remove that tree off the house for $1,000. But the only thing you have to do, you have to give me half the deposit. For sure. You have to give me. So I was like, okay, cool, done, deal. So I went, got that half deposit, $500, bought a $300 chainsaw, then went and got two of my friends and be like, hey, I just need to do one job. It's not even gonna take nothing more than 2 hours, and I'm gonna give you $100.
Mm-hmm.
So the half the deposit already covered the tools and the job already.
Yep.
Went to my wife's grandfather's house, and he had a pickup truck, and I was like, hey, I need to go pick up some trash down the street and come right back quick. Can I hold your truck? And boom, just pulled up.
Business.
I was in business since then.
Yeah, you got a chainsaw, you got 2 helpers, now you got a business.
If I lose it, started with nothing. So
Let's talk about this for a few minutes, because I have people that say crazy shit to me. They're like, Derek, I can't afford it. I need you to be my mentor. I need your help. I need this. I'm going to be so successful, and but I can't afford it. I can't afford it. And I'm like, what's it going to cost you over your lifetime to stay stupid? What's it going to cost you over your lifetime to not take action and move closer to your goals or your dreams? And I remember I tell them, I was 7 years old and I could go find some money. Mm-hmm. I was a child, like a child.
Same here.
I could go find some money when I was 7. I've been to 66 countries, 65 at least, and all over the world. Some of the best countries in the world, and a few really shitty ones. And I see kids in other countries that are where there's real poverty, not American poverty.
Same here, poverty.
Poverty.
When I was sorry to cut
the
you off,
kids
but
are
when
hustling.
I was 6, my mom was attacked by a man, stabbed her up and everything. And that right there, that moment that happened, I wanted to be a fighter because I was like, never want to let that happen again. And that guy stayed not too far away from our house. So that's what kind of got me into growing up with a rough upbringing like that. So as you speak of that, 7 years old, same here.
I got my stab wound right over here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was 16 at the time, but anyway, there's kids there's kids out there that got no education in the shittiest environments, and they're out hustling trying to find $1. I remember being in Africa. There'd be kids out there trying to sell you one used window wiper, like a half-dead catfish, a half-dead rabbit. And if you're in America or any other first world country and you can't find a couple dollars.
That's what I said. Another thing, I was like, when people, fighters that are on my team and they can't work and train at the same time, I'd be like, well, that's a lie because I don't have no excuse and I do it. And if you got people that drinking beer and throwing all these caps on the ground, you tell them that you can't go pick up each one of them caps and go scrap them and make some money. And the reason, it's so much scrap metals around here, no way you can't go scrap them and make some money. With me, I'm like, I'm not gonna, there's no way when I find out, sounds kind of crazy, but I can't work for the system because that's like somebody coming to me and said, hey, I have $10,000 for you for the year to go pick up some trash. And then I said, okay, deal. He take me to go pick up some trash, and I'm picking up the trash and there's a body in there. Hold on, how you gonna give me $10,000 for a year to pick up the body? I charge $10,000 per body. This was advice. No way you could tell me what the job were before showing me the job. And I thought like that, and I applied that in life. No way you gonna tell me that this job is worth this, and you didn't show me the money. And as I started to apply that in life, I started to have more success as far as business, the business aspect of it.
When I hear a man tell me that he can't make a payment plan, can't come up with a couple $100 a month for a payment plan, I think back of my childhood, and I knew in my neighborhood there was a young girl. She's a year younger than me. Her name was Mindy, and little Mindy she'd always be babysitting. She's always babysitting somebody, and um, everybody wanted Mindy to babysit the kids because when she was babysitting, she's going to clean up your house. Your kids are going to be well taken care of. When you came home, the kids are going to be, they took a bath, they've been cleaned up, they're in bed, everything's tidy.
She had kids?
She was 13. She was
Wow.
10,
Mom
11,
raised her
12, 10, 11, 12, 13. The point that I remember is, by the time she was 13, she had already developed a reputation that, she was the person. People would pay her twice as much or more to watch their kids than they'd have to pay somebody else because they knew when they come home, there was no excuses, there was no mess, no drama, your house was clean, your kids were safe, everything was good, Your kids were clean, your house was clean, everything's good. And they'd pay her more than double what they'd pay other people. And they'd have to book time with her weeks ahead of time because she was 13 and she was already enough. She might not have thought of herself as an entrepreneur at the time, but she was making more money than anybody else was babysitting. And they'd have to schedule with her weeks in advance, more than a month in advance sometimes, because she just did good. She showed up. She did what she's supposed to do. Everything was good, And I thought to myself, this girl, these new bicycles came out when I was a kid. The only people in the neighborhood, there's a bunch of street kids there trying to act tough and do, illegal things and all kinds of crazy shit. Every sort of scheme and hustle to go find some money. And, I was doing real business and helping people solve problems. And Mindy was doing real business and helping people solve problems. And we had more money than all these guys that were doing crooked shit, trying to fuck each other over and, doing crazy street kid shit, And there's these bicycles came out at that time that, I was 12, 13, she was probably 12 and I was 13, or she was 13 and I was 14. We had the nicest bicycles. We had nice everything because my parents didn't give me shit. My dad was in prison. My uncle was in prison. My mom was a mess. My parents didn't give me shit, but I had to go find money and solve problems myself, And she could do that and I could do that. So when I hear a man today, when I hear a grown man tell me he can't go, can't cut down a tree, can't solve problems like that, I'm like, yeah, like 10-year-old Derek, when I was 10, I was smarter than you. 10-year-old Derek was out hustling you? Really? You're that slow? Mindy, little teenage girls, 12-year-old girls are out hustling you? You can't come up with a payment plan for a few $100 a month to change your life?
It should be easy. I just feel like it's responsibility. Some people just don't have that in them. I remember, like I said, the reason why I love climbing trees and stuff like that. In Jamaica, I used to go to Guinea Bush, get up, go to the train track, sell them there. So, whatever it was, even if it was picking some mangoes and go from door to door.
Mangoes are good.
And sell them, I had that entrepreneur mindset. And if you go to Jamaica, you'll see same thing. Everyone have stalls. There's a stall on the street everywhere you go because, we had that business mindset there. So, I was bred it like that.
What would you say about a young man in America that got excuses that he can't come up with a couple $100 a month for something he wants, to pay for coaching and to pay for training, to, for whatever he wants? What would you say about a guy in America who can't find a couple $100 a month?
It will definitely have something to do with his mental or physical health. It has to be that, because I just feel like once you have a life, you can do whatever. You can go to dollar store and get bottled waters and sell them on the side for double. There's money everywhere as long as you put your mind to it. And for a guy like myself, I just thought I was a countryman. They always said, countryman run town. Countryman run town. Because the stuff that a countryman could do, a town man would never be able to do it if he come to country.
Yeah, able to solve problems and fix things in real life that
real life things.
A city person might not be able to figure out.
Not at all. He would not be able to spend.
Might not be able to survive.
Not in the woods. I mean, in the bush without light, something small like that was brought from nature. Can't do that. So, for me to come here and see that, I was like, oh, no way, I won't be able to pay my rent. No way, I won't be able to. I could work 4 jobs. And the average guy in the gym will do 1 job and they will say, oh, I have to work overnight, I have to do this. I used to believe in that to myself as far as like having some type of sympathy for their excuse. You know, if I hear the coaches like saying, "Why are they not here? Why aren't they present?" And I'm like, "Because they have to work." And then coach looked at me and said, "So what's your excuse?" I was like, "You're right. I don't have no excuse for them or myself because I'm here. I'm working 8 jobs. I'm still here no matter what."
My friend Brandon Carter, he's a big fit man. He's got quite a big social media following in fitness area. And Brandon came from Chicago, and he grew up around he grew up in the hood and around rough people in Chicago. And he's making 7 figures a year now. Built a quite a good business. Is well known, well respected person. Runs a great business. Helps a lot of people in fitness coaching area. And he talks about this. He said when he was young and making that transition from his childhood life to being a responsible adult and building a business, he said he had 3 jobs. He'd be moving furniture. He'd be working security at overnight, like third shift. He'd be working security for Louis Vuitton. He'd be moving furniture during the day, and I forget he had a third job too. And then sometimes doing personal training is a fourth job, like part time. And he said, there's no excuse. I felt that way. He felt that way. There's no excuse that if you're in a first world country, it is a lifestyle choice to be poor. It's a lifestyle choice. You might be poor, but it's a lifestyle choice to stay poor. If you're in a first world country, there's opportunities that there's no excuse for it. It's a personal choice to be broke and dumb in a first world country. There's real problems out there. There's other places where you have real problems that maybe it's not your fault, but in a first world country, it's your damn fault. It's your damn fault. It's a lifestyle choice.
The real problem to me is health or your physical well-being. If nothing is going on with that, there shouldn't be no excuse. My personal opinion, And that's all I get up every day or go to bed and thank God for health and strength. If I have health and strength, that's all I need. You don't have to give me nothing, and I'm gonna go out and make it happen. Once God can bless me with that, I don't need nothing. Trust me, I'll make it happen.
What do you think is different in your psychology? 'Cause I agree with what you said that most people, if you went to an MMA gym, a lot of people you wouldn't see them there a month later. And that's a normal gym. You're in a professional gym now, but in a normal gym, somebody gets slammed around a couple times, gets their head bumped their first time in wrestling or jiu-jitsu with a takedown, and get a good see stars for a minute. Some people are going home right then, or they have little sparring the first time, and they're going most people ain't going to stay. And then even somebody that they decide that's how they're going to spend their life, that's going to be their career. Like you said, you had some close, you said you were in Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter also, you said. And you had some tough breaks there that are real setbacks to go from there back to amateurs a couple of times and injuries. I agree with you made the comment, but I agree that I think most people would have given up.
Especially from you coming to the gym, can't get a fight, and you end up getting an injury where you don't have no insurance. You have bills to pay. You have real life responsibility outside of the gym. Fighting not paying you $500 maybe. So just think about that within your head. It's gonna discourage you and be like, why am I doing this? It's like it's stopping me from making money and have me go on with living my life like all the regular people that you see here living. Which is that's what it was like for me, you know what I'm saying? And then after a while, I realized that everything just catches up to itself. So, I think injury, not making no money, could discourage you. A person not let them want to show up again ever in the gym. Anything. I seen guys break their legs on the mat. So just think of that. And you're not a big time fighter. You just started. What you gonna tell your kids when you go home? What you gonna tell your wife? I can't pay bills this month because I can't continue on working that job. So much things that could discourage a person. But with me, I don't know. For some reason, there was something inside of me like, something inside that's not, I don't know if it was my pride or what it was, or that I was just addicted to work or what it was, but something inside me just wasn't gonna let me quit or give up from fulfilling that dream. And I'm still, like I said, battle with those anxiety to fulfill my dreams. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I haven't been discouraged at the level that I am now, but it's just something inside of me like, you know what, I'll continue on because I make it this far. And I'm having a lot of roadblocks, so it meant to be.
When Chuck came over to train with me, I met Chuck a few times in life. We spent time together. We've done a few things together. But he came over to train with me. He spent 3 days with me, March 2022. And Chuck, our time together, it was good for my confidence that I would start off in these, very, shitty positions where you're starting laying on your back with your hands pinned down here or here. I'd let him grab me however he wanted to try to hold me down. And I'd have to, fight him off, get him off of me, and just be able to stand up and get back to a fighting stance, So we drilled this for 3 days. And, Chuck's got a great wrestling background. People think of Chuck as only a striker, but Chuck had a great wrestling background. He got a purple belt in jiu-jitsu too. And, Andy likes to stand up and knock out. So, he's inclined to stand up most of the time. But yeah, Chuck is not, I don't know if you ever spend time on the mats with him, but he's not a gentle dude, And I had bruises.
I could tell from what Tito was saying. Tito was terrified.
Well, I know Tito too. Tito's my buddy too.
Okay.
So, and Tito never says anything bad about Chuck. Anyway, with Chuck I had bruises for about 10 days. And bruises like the size of like a grapefruit, or like your whole chest from dude's shoulder just in my chest. So grind it in there for 3 days at a time. But it was good for my confidence that I thought, well, there's many times I get Chuck off of me and be able to get back up to my feet, which is not easy to do. And Chuck's weighing 245 now. And he's strong. He got a lot of muscle. His legs and arms are still veiny and strong. He got a little tummy. He always had a little tummy, but he's stronger and heavier than he was during his fight career. He's not the easiest guy to shake off you.
Talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he still trains.
He's not training like like he was during his career, but he still kept himself. He's physically stronger. That he's fighting at 205, 185 sometimes, I think. So. Now he's walking around about 245, and
heavyweight.
He's stronger than he was. See, he's stronger than he would have been during a fight night. He's older. He's in his 50s, but I promise you, for a normal fella, it'd be a big mistake to get in a fight with Chuck Liddell.
Yeah. So
I promise it'd be a bad mistake.
When you actually get up to your feet, do y'all get back to striking, or is just
No, we were hitting each other. He just just takedowns and wrestling, so wrestling and grappling type stuff, But. My cardio, I was fatter than I am now. My cardio is a lot better.
Strong, man.
I'm strong, but I was weaker and fatter then. And it took me so much energy. I'd get up several times, but it took me so much energy to get up that my cardio was pretty up. And, a minute later, Chuck had me back on the floor again. So less than a minute.
Yeah.
So, I'd be up for 20 seconds, and you throw me on my ass again and be back on top of me again,
Yeah.
And people don't understand the skills and talent, and it's tough what you folks do. It's tough what you folks do. It ain't no joke. So, but that was good for my confidence. That I thought to myself, not in a cocky way, but sincerely, Chuck's very talented. And I thought, well, if I could stand up, if I could shake Chuck off of me and get back on my feet, then in a normal real world situation, there's no problem.
Real world,
there's
it
no
wouldn't even be fair.
No,
it wouldn't even be fair. You probably took a guy out with his shirt on. With his own shirt, basically.
Yeah, I don't want to say any crazy tough guy shit on here, but I have good skills, and I'm learning a lot very quickly. I have amazing coaches. I spend time training. Gilbert's been around a few. Gilbert's coming back to train with me. Derek Brunson's trained with me a few times.
Brunson.
Jake Shields is my main MMA coach. Frank Mir's been around a few times. Frank's coming back. 20 guys that that are top level guys. Mike Chandler's been over. So yeah, I had amazing training partners that
Sweet.
I feel very grateful to be able to learn some of the things that these people know, and for them to share their wisdom and experiences.
Especially Gilbert Burns and Brunson.
I mean, those guys are great. Gilbert's Gilbert's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys, period. So
Yeah.
he's fantastic. All these guys are very talented. Anyway, I feel I have a lot of respect for them and for for what you do in your career, and what the top level guys in your sport are doing is no joke. It's you got to be a certain type of person. That a guy on the street doesn't know the difference. The tough guy on the street has no idea of the levels and levels and levels of difference between a neighborhood tough guy and a high level professional fighter. There's a whole lot of layers in there.
For real. And I feel like another thing is like you have to have endurance to like your willpower, as far as like not giving up. And it's a different type of toughness other than just being tough for one day. You have to get up every single day and just be tough. I feel. Fight day, you don't have to be tough because you spend so much time being tough on outside of, what I'm saying, fight day. That's like that day is just normal. But it's all the other rest of days. It's the hardest. Like you gotta get up in the morning and just find ways how to motivate yourself.
I say this publicly. There's plenty of times I woke up in life and I don't feel like doing this or that. I don't feel like doing the thing that I'm supposed to do today. But I remind myself, well, the success gods, they don't give a shit what I feel like today. They don't care at all about my feelings. They only care about my behaviors.
Yeah.
So if I want to have more success, I got to get my ass up, jump out of bed and leap into the day and get at those behaviors that are going to lead to more prosperity, more winning, more success.
It's true.
Money guys don't give a shit about my feelings. They don't care about your feelings. The MMA guys don't give a shit about your feelings either, man. You got to show up. How happy would your competition be if they knew you were chilling and laying in bed while they were training? How excited would they be if that was true,
I do that. I think like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course I think like that. I'm like, my fighter's not coming out in the middle of the day, cutting trees in the hot sun.
Yeah.
Then washing cars. I use all of that as self-confidence. Like, oh, no, they're not doing that. After they finish training, they go home to play some Xbox.
Yeah. Don't that feel great knowing you're doing more than your competition?
Absolutely. It drives me.
What could be better for a man's confidence? Whether it's business, fighting, any other endeavor, what could be better for man or woman? What could be better for a person's confidence than knowing that you're going to compete against somebody who you're outworking them by far? They gave up a long time ago and you're still putting in work.
Yeah, and there's a fear that you can't escape. You might train with Chuck Liddell and a couple of top fighters and end up fighting a regular guy that you know nothing about, but your mind will play tricks on you and go through everything, all the risks that you have to take, and does it add up? Does it worth it? Your mind gonna do that because that's just being human. You know what I'm saying? That's human nature right there. Can't help herself but to think like that, all the risk and everything. And for me, to help me like to overcome some of those thoughts of being hurt or getting injured or anything, I think about the highest tree that I climb. And I'm like, I just climbed 100 feet tree. No way. No way he's doing this. There was fears in that. And once I thought of that, it's just like, oh no, he's not gonna be ready for that. I already done took a lot of fear and a lot of risk already. So, this going inside the cage and fight a man, this shouldn't be no risk.
I think like this, when I have to negotiate something that's kind of an area of business that I'm well known for, people come and ask my advice to help them with complex negotiations. And when I think, when you have that little moment of self-doubt or that little moment of concern, I'm like, I spent 35 years preparing for that. I spent 35 years when other people were dreaming about whatever they were fantasizing about in their dreams. I was dreaming about business. I was dreaming about negotiation. All I dream about today is MMA and business is all I think about. And I'm training, the guys laugh, I'm training more than a lot of pros are. And I'm not trying to be a pro fighter. I'm just a business guy in his 40s, man. I'm not trying to talk tough. I'm not going to be a pro fighter. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. But I'm not good at having hobbies. If I do something, I really do it,
Yeah.
So I'm spending maybe 18, 20 days a month training with pro fighters, all top level guys. All I do is business and that. There's nothing else I think about. So when I gotta deal with some little negotiation, I already know the outcome. Before I walked into a room to deal with something, I already know the outcome. The other part, I thought about it from, 40 different angles of, if this happens, I'll do this. If that happens, I do this. If this happens, this. If that happens, this.
When I started to do business as well, and I had to negotiate with the client about how much the price is to cut a tree on that. Ah, man, I couldn't stop thinking about negotiating, like same way you were saying, because I was up every night watching Shark Tank. I was like,
shout out to Mr. Wonderful. I know you're watching.
Oh man, that's all I was on. I was like, man, maybe I could just take some of those tactics and apply it,
Mark Cuban's rough on there.
Oh yeah.
Cuban, yeah. I don't know if he's still on the show.
Mr. Wonderful, definitely.
I love Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I never met him. I have met Mark Cuban in the past a couple times. And
I heard good stuff about him. Somebody actually worked for him.
Yeah. He and I were at a conference in Washington, D.C., 11 or so years ago. We ended up at a conference, same thing in D.C., and he gave a little talk there. He's one of the speakers. And then, afterwards, numerous people were trying to talk to him and be in his ear. And I give him space when everybody's trying to holler at him. But we were walking across the street together back to a different building. We were going to be at the same conference for a few days together. And I said, Mark, I don't think I ever said this on camera before, but nothing wrong with it, I suppose. I said, Mark, you're a known asshole, a bit of an asshole. And I didn't mean it as an insult, and he knew that, I said, but he was, especially at that time in his life, he's very opinionated and, a little controversial, and he's toned that down in later years, but that's how he was, And I said, Mark, you're a known asshole, and a bit of an asshole myself at times. And he kind of looked at me like, he's thinking about it, like, he don't know if he loves me or hates me, but he knows he's got an opinion. He's trying to come to that opinion, We talked for a few seconds, and we got across the street. We spent about 15 minutes together with him and I and his bodyguard. We went in like a little separate room and had a chat for a few minutes, and maybe 12 or 15 minutes. But, the key thing that I remember talking with him about is I asked him, I told him that I know there's times where I'm very unashamedly myself, Mm-hmm. I don't really give if somebody likes me or not, including the people that watch this video, including my YouTube audience. I'd be delighted if 90% of my followers unfollowed right now and went and did anything else, because they're never going to do shit anyway. So I spend my time talking to the 10% that might go do something, that they're thinking about it. And if I could nudge them in the right direction, I'd be happy to help, But I spend my time talking to the 10% of people that they're not just watching for entertainment. They're not just watching for who knows. So, in the background, that they really want to make their life a bit better. And, the hearing from the people that I bring to them and knowing a bit about me, they're inclined to go do something, actually. So anyway, I asked Mark, I said, I know there's times that, being somewhat unfiltered like that and speaking my mind is probably alienated a few people from me, that if we got to know each other, there could have been some transactional business that, they made a little money and I made a little money, and probably we both would have been better for it. I said, on the other hand, just, being, more sincere and open about my opinions about things, I wouldn't have a lot of the relationships that I do have, that, some people I knew that I made a lot of money with, and, we really changed each other's lives dramatically. I wouldn't have those relationships if I was, pretended to be like everybody else, or pretended to just fit in and do normal people shit, And I said, what are your thoughts about the, benefits of, being more open and sincere with your personality versus, trying to fit in more and do what normal people do? And he said, hey, there's going to be a few things in your lifetime. There might be a couple deals that are so big and so important that, you might want to bite your tongue and
Walk away.
do what you're supposed to do in that situation. He said, if you could do that well, you could do whatever you want to with the rest of your life. And that's just one person's opinion. But anyway, Cuban's a good dude, and I ran into him a couple of years ago in Vegas after that, and said hi for a minute. But he's a good guy overall. But Mr. Wonderful,
he's an asshole.
I love Mr. Wonderful.
It's
he's my
good.
favorite.
It's good, like keeping it real. It's painful.
I love that guy. Never met him.
He always keep.
I know
it real.
you're watching right now.
He always
Send
keep
me
it
a
real.
DM. Send me a DM. We should talk, Mr. Wonderful. We're gonna find some money together.
We got some deals. We got some deals to make.
It's gonna be great. You'll love it. You'll love it. So you mentioned, feeling uncomfortable in negotiation, or you had to think through those permutations to feel more comfortable over time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As before, I used to bring glasses and just just feel like so comfortable doing that. Maybe I need to act like I have glasses on whenever I do it, and maybe it definitely bring a more relaxed, I can make eye contact and everything. But I started with glasses, and I was like, maybe the customer maybe think I'm a crook with glasses on because they can't see my eye. Or maybe I could go without the glasses and act like I have glasses on. See how that worked out. Yeah, I realized.
I think they call this overthinking. So.
Yeah, but that too, sometimes you still have to strategize, make it better, tweak it every single time. If you think of it, or that doesn't apply.
I've overthinked many things in my life. So who am I to criticize?
Sure.
But I think in general, if a person knows, I think if you showed up and you're just speaking sincerely, people know when somebody's full of shit.
That's true.
I think that's just the core thing, that anybody who's done anything, in a second is, literally in a second or two, like, is this person full of shit? All right, maybe I can trust them. Let me hear them out for another 30 seconds. All right, they seem legit. All right, let's talk about it then. Do you not know in a few seconds? You have a pretty good idea of like, is this person full of shit, or maybe I can trust them?
Not all the time.
Some people are experts at being full of shit. But
not all the time. 99% of the time.
Yeah.
I know, but what about the 1%?
I feel like I've become a pretty good judge of character over time.
Yeah, that's true. I'm judgmental.
I think most women have better understanding of social skills than men do, because their biology has made them that way. That women have a better sense if somebody's bullshit or not. But I think guys that did something, like, the journey, what it takes to get something done, like what it takes to do hard things and get a result. And I think when a person's walked that path or had that journey, they get a decent sense of like, all right, does this guy seem like he's actually done some things in life that probably he could do this too? Or he just, a lot of talk and not a lot of action. So
sure.
How many guys come to the gym and they got a lot of words and not a lot of action? In a pro gym, different, but in a normal gym.
And in our gym, it's kind of different from, like you say, pro gym is, like my first time in the gym, it was crazy. Henry will tell you. When I first came to the gym, I got my ass handed to me. And Henry told me, listen, you only had 3 weeks. You only had 3 weeks. And if you can't get better within those 3 weeks, you can't come back. And I was like, I took a deep breath. I was like, thank God, because I thought you were gonna tell me I couldn't come back. 3 weeks, thank you so much. Because I thought you were gonna tell me I couldn't come back. But 3 weeks, I know that's all I need, because at that time, I was confident that I could take a fight on 3 weeks' notice and get ready, know what to do to get sharp, go running and do everything of that nature. I just went and try it out off of word of mouth. Wasn't like I was like, let me just prepare. If I go over there, on the spot if you tell me to spar against 2 guys. Let me see how I go. Because that's literally was. I was sparring against 2 guys.
Yeah.
They was alternating back and forth, and I was in the middle.
Gotcha.
And it was like, man, this shitty, bro. 3 weeks I'm giving you can't come back through those doors. I was like, thank you, man. Shook his hand. I was like, I won't disappoint you next time you see me here. Trust me. Then I came back and I proved them wrong. Like, that's all I needed was 3 weeks to rewrite my wrongs and show you that I was not that guy that you see,
I had Glover Teixeira was over training with me, I don't know, a month ago, less than a month ago. My cameraman here challenged both of us to, he did, he threw down a challenge 2-on-1, me and Glover versus him. We got a little video of it. You can imagine what that looked like.
Glover's a nice guy too.
I love Glover. Glover's good, man.
It's a great guy. I remember the first time I met him. And I said, yeah, I know you. I was like, no, you don't. He's like, yeah. I was like, no, you don't. I know you. He's like, yeah. I was like, so humble of him, to actually acknowledge me that I'm one of the players in the game. So, that was big. For me, he might not remember that, but for me, that's huge.
Now, the little moments like that can mean a lot to somebody, and I hear you. Glover was a wonderful man. I had a lot of respect for who he is and what he's done, and just a nice person.
What he stands
aside
for
of his
as well,
accomplishments.
Too. Yeah.
Outside of his accomplishments, just a nice person, and I like him a lot. He's a good man. I was checking him 2 or 3 days ago. We were texting. Yesterday we were texting. He's coming through first week of October. He's back training with me, gonna help me get in shape for my heavyweight debut in the senior citizen UFC show. Yeah, when they open a senior citizens league, I need to be ready. I think I'd be ready in 4 more years. I'll be 47.
I think there should be a league, a senior citizen league, where not just go by the weight class, but you go by the age group. Like a 41-year-old is gonna fight a 41-year-old. 40, you know what I'm saying? I feel like UFC should do that as well, and other organization to where.
I'm letting Dana know as soon as he opened the senior citizen league, I want to be in the heavyweight senior citizen ultimate fighter.
That's good. I'm looking forward to it.
Dana, you heard me. You know Moneyberg.
The big Moneyberg. Natural. I love it.
I just chat about whatever, man. I never ask anybody a up question that's going to be up for them, I never try to say anything that's going to be, I got a lot of respect for, what you're doing and other guys around you, so I never try to ask anything uncomfortable or up ever. So, and I think people enjoy watching it. They just have a sincere conversation where, whoever's talking to me, they're relaxed and they can be themselves, and it's good.
Sincere. I feel it. Yeah, definitely.
Anybody who don't like it,
I learned that what you said, you was like, you're not really doing it caring if your followers like what you're doing right now, It's about that other 10% that's going to take something from it. And
those are people that are going to go do something. They're going to go get some money. They're going to go do something. They're people you'd like to hang out with. You'd be happy to have in your peer group, A lot of my clients later on, I'll tell you about my business a little bit. Is that there's like 3 main courses that I sell. People pay $5,000, $5,000, $5,000 to be in those courses. And they're a lot of work. And I tell them, 30% of people don't finish. And we don't give them a penny of a refund. If you're a bitch-ass quitter, quit on yourself. Quit on yourself. But you took a spot in the program. If you don't finish, that's on them,
And what your program is about?
There's one about entrepreneurship, which is 12 weeks long. It's like the fundamentals, how to build a business from zero to a real business. So we spend 12 weeks on entrepreneurship, 10 weeks on real estate, 10 weeks about the stock market and other things related to the stock market, like, currency exchange, cryptocurrencies, bonds, things like that. So, somebody goes through those 3 courses, that's 32 weeks. And they're going to put in at least 20 hours of homework, 20, 25 hours of work per week for 32 weeks. And, a lot. If you worked think about training, you spend, a few hundred hours, 800 hours training, you're going to learn some things,
Even if you don't want to.
You're going to learn things you didn't want to learn. You're going to learn a lot of things. You're going to learn some things about yourself if you're willing to keep up with the work, you know? So I tell them it's a lot of work. I tell them it's not for everybody. But I mean, the people that come through that, you get to know those people, and it's a lot of work. You develop a sincere respect for the clients, and you develop real friendships with some of them. And the ones that stand out, that I know they did their work, I know they're people with integrity, people that, honorable, good quality people. They're serious about getting more results. I invite them to be part of our mastermind group. I don't invite everybody, but I invite the best ones to be part of our mastermind group. We got something like 150 people that have joined that. It's $20,000 to join, $5,000 a year to keep your membership active. I didn't want to make it $20,000 a year because I wanted it so even if somebody has a bad year, they have a tough time, if they're part of that group, they're part of the group, So it's not, the point of that program is not to make a lot of money, every year. It's just keeping those people together, that they're active, they're contributing. And then I do some live events where, our best clients show up to those live events as well. So, when I make a comment like that on camera, I do mean it sincerely. But the purpose of that business to me is like, I really value that social network more, that it's a good filter to get rid of people who are, they weren't so serious, They wanted to learn a little something, and that's fine. They wanted to learn a little something, and I helped them with that. But they weren't that serious about going on,
Yeah.
There's some people, maybe they want to get a blue belt and give up. There's
That's
some
true.
people that want to get, continue on and get their purple belt, brown belt, black belt, and then keep their skills up after you're a black belt. A lot of the black belts will tell you, I'm sure you've heard this, a lot of the black belts will say, well, like, that's when you're kind of starting, you're still learning forever,
Black belt. Yeah.
So it's not like you made it and you're done training. It's like you got to keep training.
I love that, though, the topics and that you teach, because entrepreneur, I love that. Real estate, that's my next step. I want to get into that as well. Stock market, I'm into the stock market already, so, definitely.
I call it the Trinity of wealth. And I don't mean that to be just a cute marketing term or something dramatic, but if you understand those three things, if you can make some entrepreneurial money, if you're making, you literally said it yourself, and I say this all the time, that you literally said it yourself today. If you're making enough entrepreneurial money, pretty soon you're not so concerned about the income you're getting from your job.
No. And listen, so as I was doing all that, like cutting trees and selling coconut and doing all the washing cars, I was making banks, not, good money on fighting, starting to, and all that money, I wouldn't even keep it cash on me. I put everything in the stock market as I was getting it. And I realized, like, I would tell people, like, hey, I'm broke. They think I will be joking. Like, I don't have the money. I don't know what that much money look like, because I never keep money on me. So the feeling of that never with me. The feeling of me is getting up every day and trying to make some money.
Yeah.
It was always that. It's not like, oh, I just make this amount of money, now I don't need to do that. Feel was never there because I never have it. I put it in the stock market.
In 2 years, I made $40 million in 2 years, in 2020, 2021. And I still pick up change at the airport. I'm delighted. I'm delighted. If I can find an extra penny somewhere.
It's money. Copper
Man,
is not cheap.
there's times when I was a kid, I didn't have no money that, you go to sleep with without eating dinner, and you might have had some moments like that in your life. So I don't have no disrespect for money. I still think about, I think about that, the difficult times in my life where, I wish I had an extra few dollars around. So a penny or a quarter is not going to make or break my future. But, somewhere in my head, I do think if I start being disrespectful, if you start walking by quarters and be like, nah, like, I'm too good for that. I don't think it would help my future.
No,
I don't think
not.
it would help my future if I start changing my thoughts that way. So if I see a coin, I'm probably picking it up.
Sure.
But yeah, if you understood those three topics, anybody, if a person understood how to make some additional income through entrepreneurship, which you have a good foundation for that already, but you start turning that into a business. If you're making enough money in your business, there's some point where you're making enough money in your business, you ain't got time to go to a job no more. You ain't got time to go to a job unless you really like your job. You like your job, okay? If your job is you're the ass kicking machine, If your
Like
job
my
is kicking
job.
ass and you enjoy that, then that's your job for now. But you're not
Yeah.
reliant on that income. You literally could probably go make more money doing something else,
Yeah,
and you know that.
that's true.
So you're doing what you do because that's your love. That's what you do, and that's cool. All
Yeah.
right, but guess what? You talked about that stock market money, and I bet you're going to have some real estate in your future.
Yeah.
If you're making enough money from your investments in the stock market and from real estate, you got time to climb a 100-foot tree?
I think I don't know. Once I'm finished with fighting, I'm gonna grow my business into a corporation because now I will have all my undivided attention to go towards it. But now the fact that I know it's gonna take a lot of time, I just do it just to do it, to learn and continue on just growing, to have like a base. But I feel like once I'm done with fighting and I don't have to be there 24/7 giving it all my undivided attention, then or term where I don't have to climb a tree no more or do the work no more.
Yeah. I would just point out that if you're making enough money from your investments, you might choose to do entrepreneurial things, but again, you're doing it because you sincerely enjoy it.
Yeah.
You ain't got to do some entrepreneurial things that if you hate it or that you wouldn't want to do. You don't have to do things you don't want to do. If you're making enough money from collecting rent, collecting money in the stock market, through dividends, through selling options, through stock appreciation, if you climb a tree, it's not because you're broke and you need to pay for dinner.
No.
If you climb a tree, it's because you think it's funny or you
Or
enjoy
get
it
a
on some
workout, or
level.
get exercise. That's true. Even now to this day, like I said, the reason why I will climb a tree is because, like I said, I love the fact that I'm challenging myself, to do stuff that the normal people can't do. So, I enjoy that. Just enjoy that thought of it. Same thing when I fight. A normal person cannot go in front of everybody and just go and just say, I'm gonna beat the shit out of somebody, or somebody gonna beat the shit out of me, or break my leg. Such an embarrassment in front of the world.
I don't know if that's an embarrassment.
I felt like it was, like I don't know, because I don't want no man want to be seen at the weakest point in their life. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be seen like that, and I learned to get through it.
I don't want to say anybody's name, but I was at a UFC fight where I seen a guy that, and I don't mean to make fun of him because he's a tough man and he's a very talented man, and I'm not going to say his name out of respect, but I seen a guy that really gave up in the fight, that he's getting choked, and I've been choked a lot of times by, world-class guys, and I'm just like, nah, he's got a few more seconds, and he tapped with like a second in the round.
Yeah.
And now he's getting smacked around pretty good in that first round, and I don't think he wanted to go to the second round. And my opinion is, I think he kind of gave up. He heard the 10-second, the 10-second clap.
Mm.
He knew he could hold on another second or two. I think he wasn't looking forward to going to that second round. And he's like, all right, I got it out right now. Then let's call it a day. And again, I don't know. Hey, I haven't lived his life. He's more talented than me. I don't want to make fun of the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I did think to myself, like, that man gave up. And I'd be more bothered by that than, hey, my leg is broken and I can't go on right now.
I almost given up in a fight when I fought against Gracie. Neiman Gracie. And it was like 30 seconds into the fight, I ripped my eyelid, like split. And I was literally above them, and I ended up on the ground. He was on my back. And I didn't think about fighting while I was there. I did not think, I don't know how I got inside this cage, why I'm here. Why the hell am I fighting? Why is this man on my back? These are all the questions that was going through my head before. I'm like, why am I here? Because I couldn't see my eye. I'm like, no way, I want to see my kids. How I'm going to live with one eye? Does the money worth it, losing the eye? These are the stuff that was going through my head in that split second. I don't know how all this stuff that's going through my head within a split second so quick. And as the guy was on my back trying to choke me, I realized that he wanted me to give up as well. And something just snapped in my head like, I can't go back to that. I've been there already where I gave up on myself. And I knew I did. Even though my body may gave up, but within my mind, I felt like I did something. You know what I'm saying? And I gave up, and I was like, I'm not gonna go back and sit down with Moneyberg and tell him about that story about me giving up or quitting or any other person. You know, I was like, I'm not gonna go through it. I'm not gonna give up on my kids. And throughout that whole camp, I just thought about all the grueling runs that I did. I was just running this hill. There's a hill in Florida, by the way.
I believe you. I believe there's at least one hill.
So, you know, I'll run, and I just thought about all them hard runs. I was like, am I gonna go back to those hills and say to myself, now I'm gonna have to start back over? How much time are you gonna start back over, Jay? And I was like, I always remember this, once there's a will, there's a way. And it's like, if you do something, you could do something right now. Doesn't matter what you do, anything it's a good try. You know what? I tried saying something to him. Like, hey, I can't see nothing. Then within that little distraction, just took his focus off of trying to choke me. And I just turned around and the ref see my eye. As the ref see my eye, it's like, all right, doctor had to come in. I was like, doctor came in and I wanted to kill some time. So I was just trying to explain to the doctor, I'm pretty sure he saw everything on TV, what happened. But I still was just trying to explain, like, yeah, I raked my eye on the cage. And, you know, he was like, he didn't care. I'm not gonna say he didn't care, but his main concern was, you want to stop fighting, you want to give up, or you want to continue on? I was like, no, I'm not giving up. No way I'm not giving up. Thought about one of my idols, Hulk Hogan. I don't know if it's true. That's one thing, ain't no quitting me, my brother. And then he hulk up and ripped the shirt off. Always felt that energy. And I was like, no, I'm not quitting. And I was like, listen, when you get down there, before the referee would say go, you better go. The referee was like, all right, ready, set? I said, set. And I was like, back up to my feet. I was like, listen, I'm gonna beat this guy one eye. I don't care. I'm not gonna let this guy beat me. And I did everything in my power, and I ended up walking out there, and I won. And I was like, man, it felt so good. I felt like I could have did better, but one thing, I didn't give up on myself. And I was like, all right, I know my future is gonna be bright.
You won that fight?
I won that fight.
Yeah, you're the ass-kicking machine. Of course you won the fight. Don't need two eye. Could have beat him with no eye.
No eye. I just wasn't going to give up no matter what.
No disrespect, Mr. Gracie. Hoist is my buddy. Hoist is like Mr. Miyagi.
I know Hoist.
I love Hoist. Hoist is my friend.
We have the greatest conversation. Right. It was like, I felt like it was like a soul that actually met. And we spoke about it, that, you know, like, hey, you know, I beat Neiman and we was going to fight and all that. So I think that's his nephew or something.
I don't know the relationship.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there with that name that I don't know the relationships, but I know he has a nephew that's in the UFC, that's in Bellator.
Yeah, follow him. Yeah. So, you know, we always used to like talk every single time, and it's like, you know, it's only one Gracie that gonna choke me. That's Horace. Horace Gracie is the only one who's gonna choke me. I took a picture of him.
Oh, he's choked me too. I also have photos being choked by Horace Gracie. So. Horace has put 20 minutes on a timer, and he give me a bunch of rules that you can't, you know, he said no bench pressing and tossing. Because our first time we rolled together, you know, I'm 100 pounds bigger than him, and 13 years younger, but he's still, you know, Horace Gracie, you know.
Of course.
So he's still up with you. It don't matter. So anyway, in the mix of him, you know, attempting his, you know, numerous, you know, he beat me up plenty of times, but in the mix of this, you know, I kind of like bench pressed him and tossed him, and he's like, whoa.
Not far. That's not jiu-jitsu. That's no jiu-jitsu.
He's like, whoa. So then he gave me rules and more rules, and every day he'd add more rules. We spent a week together. Every day we're together for a week, and he was staying with me, and he'd add more rules. You can't stand up. You can't do this. You can't do this. And it was really quite useful because he restricted a lot of the things in my movement. He'd set a timer for like 20 minutes and just attack me for like 20 minutes and on the ground, you know, jiu-jitsu rules, so we're not striking. But trying to get my arm, trying to get my leg, and so I have to play defense, and I'd be sweaty as hell. So I did a pretty good job with the defense, but yeah, it was good for my cardio and good for my confidence. Because he sees little things about jiu-jitsu that most people just don't.
Yeah, I lost my first coach to jiu-jitsu. He was in a tournament, passed away, had a heart attack.
No shit.
Yeah. Then he was like in one of them August tournament. That was like right before I made my Bellator debut. It's like one of the hardest hit that I felt like I took, throughout this whole thing. Couldn't believe it, had a heart attack within the tournament.
That's wild.
Yeah, so it's like within my heart, I was like, jiu-jitsu, once I finish fighting and everything, maybe that's one of the things I would like pursue. I felt like that right there is like, kind of give me a sour taste.
Before we wrap up here, I want to go back to a thought you brought up a few minutes ago regarding that fight where your eye is injured. A lot of people would give up right there, huh? Or nudge the doctor for a doctor stoppage that guy don't want to say that, oh, I quit, but maybe say, well, I can't see, doctor. I can't. And
I had 2 stitches in my eye afterwards. They stitched it up. Inside the whole lid was like ripped.
A lot of people would quit there, and you didn't. And you won.
Yeah.
And there's somebody out there, there's some half-wit, probably born from a parent's ass, that would criticize, say, oh, you felt like quitting, or, they make those stupid internet comments. Like, if you never felt like quitting, you never tried too hard. If you never been in a situation that you felt, overwhelmed or a bit distressed where you felt like giving up, you didn't try too hard. Because everybody that's ever done shit at a high level, plenty of times they felt like quitting and they carried on anyway. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So anybody that's a world champion, top level performer, they felt like it. Maybe they quit. Maybe earlier in life they did give up on some things, but to be that guy, that person that builds your. I'm not saying that to be politically correct. There's women in my audience, have female clients too. If you're going to be the type of man or woman that's going to go do something significant, yeah, you're going to feel like giving up some days. And then you got to remember, the success gods don't care what you feel like, but they do care about your actions. They do care about the behaviors you engage in today. And if you engage in high quality behaviors for long enough, you got good coaches, good teammates, and you show up for your success day after day and put in the work with those people, you're going to have really good outcomes over time. Is that fair?
Yes, that's correct. And one of the things too, speaking about showing up, that extra 30 minutes that I show up before class and that extra 30 minutes that I stay after work, within a year, oh man, the growth from just doing that. It's like that's just an extra 30 minutes of stretching before class. That's just an extra minute of cooling down, doing, a little bag work. All that adds up, at the end of the day. And I'm like, man, I think that's like one of the biggest things other than coming and doing that 1 hour. Because, that 1 hour, that's 2 hours within that day right there that you don't even notice. And it just shows on your result and your performance,
Along those lines, were you at the gym over here when Usman was training here?
Been with him is basically his whole career since he left.
Usman told me when we had our interview, it's in my 10 Commandments program, the full interview with Kamaru Usman. Usman told me about a time in his life during his college wrestling that he was just kind of starting off, and he was doing good enough. He's keeping up with the team, did everything the coaches told him, showed up on time, did everything that everybody else did. And he said he's getting a little frustrated, and he had a conversation with his coach at one time. He said, look, I'm here on time. I do everything you tell me to do. I do everything everybody else does. And, I win a match, I lose a match. I win a couple, I lose another one. And didn't feel like he was excelling or doing the basics. He's kind of thinking about quitting wrestling and spending his time doing something else. And he says his coach makes a comment to him along the lines of like, well, why do you think you would do better than others if you're only doing what they do? If you're not showing up early, like you just said, if you're not staying late, like you just said, if you're not doing those extra things, climb a tree, do extra work, find extra resources, think about, man, there's no way my competition's outworking me, like our conversation has been. Why would you expect to have better outcomes if you're not doing more than the competition? So I think that's a key thing that stuck with me from our conversation together with Kamaru and I. Shout out to Kamaru Usman. I know you're watching. And you've exemplified that, and talked about that. Numerous aspects of your life where you've lived up to that. That you're doing more than was expected. Kept going when others would have quit at numerous times. Lost a coach, injured your eye, broke your hand, broke your leg.
Right.
And you're still here and keeping going, man. You're on your way to a title shot, I understand. And I wish you the best. I appreciate you taking time to spend with us and share some of your experiences and lessons learned from your life so far.
Yeah, and I don't feel like this is an accident. I feel like God put us in the same path because like I say, you're doing big things, and I know one day I'm going to be one of the greatest fighters to ever do it, and we'll be back here telling you, like, man, you remember we had that little conversation, everything spoke into existence. I know, like I said, it's going to get bigger for me because of all the adversity that I've been through, I'm still going through now. So, every champion had that same story, I felt. Like Ong Lao, first met him, he was like, people say he was like a prince where he came from, or a king, or whatever, in Burma. And I listened to his story. I'm like, his story is the same as mine, same thing. I just came from a different village than you did, but same exact things. Maybe that's why we end up in this pond where we're at right now, And it's nothing different from Kamaru's story or anyone's story that actually been to the top or at the top. So, it's just the beginning for me, I feel.
Anybody I know that went on to create real success, they have plenty of adversity. It's part of the story. It's part of the experience. You ever talk to? I talked to 100 and something, more than 100 world champions from football, from volleyball, from wrestling, jiu-jitsu, different MMA things, boxers, speed skaters, every sport. And I don't remember one of them telling me everything was easy.
True.
I never heard that version. I talked to a lot of people that are best in the world at what they do. I never heard anybody say it was easy.
Sure.
That's not been my experience.
I feel like when I speak with, like I said, high-class athlete from, every sport, every other sport, basketball, football, I feel like the connection that we have is not about like the fame and fortune or the success or anything. It's just like genuine, speaking like how everything started out, connect there, because we know you're heading the right way and I'm heading the right way. So, connect real good. So
yeah, if you can solve problems, you already demonstrated that. If a person can solve problems where somebody else would accept an excuse, and you're like, nah, I just want to win more. That I'm gonna solve the problems, and there's some people out there that think, oh, if only I solved this or that little thing, then my life would be perfect. Mm-hmm. If only I accomplished this next one thing, then my life would be perfect. No, dumbass. If you could solve your current problems, all that means is you're going to have higher quality problems.
That's
you got
true.
some new problems. It just means you got some higher quality problems. And if you solve them, you're going to be well rewarded, and you're going to have some more difficult problems, even more difficult problems, until some point you're not able to solve the problem. But your success in life, you're going to be rewarded with financially. You're going to be rewarded with higher quality friends, a higher quality significant other in your life. The people that get the best things in the world are the people that are most capable of solving those problems. And when they have a setback, they'd be like, all right, that's pretty shit. Mm-hmm. But what's next? How do we get, what can I do?
That. That my least favorite part of on the road to success?
I bet you're going to tell me.
After success. Where do we go from here? where it was all that feeling and everything, you know what I'm saying? The anxiety, the rush, everything in the process of it. Then afterward, it's like, I did it with flying color. Easier than what really, so what's next now?
You're gonna be an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur at heart. So you're an entrepreneur who's distracted kicking asses. You're an entrepreneur who's distracted fighting right now. But you're gonna go back to entrepreneurship.
I love it. That's my favorite thing to do.
I really believe that. I really believe that about you. That you're an entrepreneur at heart. That you like solving those type of problems. And right now you're working on your fight career. And I hope you make it to the top. But you're going to go back to entrepreneurship later because I think that's what's in your heart.
That's true. I love it.
You like solving problems.
Yeah, you're the guy I'm willing to come with and, clean up. Just like, knew how to fight, but I needed a coach to like, teach me, to give me the right tools, to make my job more easier.
We'll talk about it off camera, but I'll put you on one of my courses if you do the work. If you do the work, you got to do the homework. But I'll put you on one of my courses. Home, you'll learn a lot from it.
That's true.
Jason, thank you for coming through.
Thank you so much.
Jason Jackson, the ass-kicking machine, ladies and gentlemen. Big respect, man.
Moneyberg,
happy
you guys
to see
know
you.
him already. So
you're serious about having better outcomes. If you're willing to put in the work to, show some dedication to your own success, I'm here to help. But I can't want you to win more than you want to win. If you want to show up for your own success, click a link around here, find my webpage, and if you belong in one of my programs, apply. Request an interview, have a conversation with my team, and see if you'd fit in. You watch this video all the way through, and that tells me you're dedicated to learning more and earning far above average outcomes in your life. Congratulations for that. But now it's time to take action. If you could have earned those results by yourself, you would have done it already. My head coach has opened up a few spots on his high-demand calendar for an in-person, one-on-one strategy session to help you. On this call, we'll give you the pragmatic advice that you can implement tonight to get laser-focused on the right metrics and leave mediocrity far behind in your past. Click that link right now in the description below and apply for your call immediately. Do it now.